late at night at St. Grace Children's Hospital, Seattle. The third floor stands empty, the hallway silent, only the steady hum of medical equipment. A figure slips through the back door, worn clothes, long, tangled hair, a beard hiding most of his face. He moves quietly, not wanting to be noticed. He just needs a place to escape the rain. Then he hears it, piano notes. Lonely, clumsy, like a child searching for a melody that's been lost. He stops, listens, follows the sound. The music therapy room, door slightly open, inside. A blonde-haired boy sits at a grand piano, small fingers trembling as they touch the keys. He plays a few notes, stops, tries again. Wrong. Stops again. The boy doesn't cry, doesn't speak, just silence. The man stands outside the door for a moment, then he knocks softly. The boy turns, says nothing. "May I play with you?" the man asks gently. The boy looks at him, then nods. The man enters. He sits down at the second piano. Rough, dirty hands rest on the clean white keys. "Try again," he says. The boy plays, still clumsy, still wrong. The man plays too, same melody but fuller, smoother. Two pairs of hands, one weathered, aged, one small, trembling, they play together. Behind the half-open door, a man in a white coat stands still. The hallway light catches his face. Two streams of tears run down his cheeks. He stares at the homeless man. His lips tremble, forming a name. Michael. His name is Michael Harper, 38 years old, homeless. But Michael wasn't always like this. 15 years ago, Michael Alexander Harper was a piano prodigy. He performed at Carnegie Hall at just 23. Critics called him the Mozart of his generation. Michael had an older brother, David, 4 years older. David went into medicine, Michael went into music. But they always supported each other. They lost their mother when Michael was 8, lost their father when Michael was 20, after their parents died. It was just the two brothers. They were everything to each other, David said. "You play piano, I heal people. Together, we'll make the world better." Michael believed that. Until that night. The night everything changed. An apartment building in Seattle caught fire. Michael was home. He heard screaming, a child trapped on the third floor. Michael didn't think. He ran into the flames. Toxic smoke, intense heat, burning wood falling. Michael found the child. A 5-year-old girl, lying under a collapsed table. He carried her out, handed her to firefighters. Then the building collapsed. Michael escaped just in time, but he was badly injured. 2nd-degree burns on his right hand. Nerve damage, the doctor said. "You can play piano, but you'll never play professionally again." That wasn't all in the fire. Michael lost everything: ID cards, diplomas, performance contracts, family photos, money, everything. He had no proof he was Michael Harper, the famous pianist. No papers, couldn't get a job, couldn't rent an apartment, couldn't open a bank account. Michael slowly slipped down into the depths of society. He tried to find David, but David was studying in London. No permanent phone number. Old email no longer used. Michael left messages everywhere, no response. He didn't know David had returned to America looking for him. But the list of victims from the fire was unclear. Some said Michael might have died. David searched for 6 months. 1 year, 2 years. No Michael Harper anywhere. David thought his brother was dead. Michael thought his brother had abandoned him. 15 years passed. Michael lived on the streets of Seattle. He played piano in the park to earn money, an old keyboard, some keys broken, every day. He played every night. He slept under a bridge. Music no longer brought joy. It was just a way to survive. Noah Bennett, 7 years old, hair blonde as sunshine, eyes blue as a clear sky. Looks like an angel. But Noah hasn't spoken a word in 2 years. 2 years ago, Noah sat in the back seat of a car. Next to him was his older brother Lucas, 9 years old, parents in front. They were driving home after a weekend trip. Dad was driving. Mom was laughing. Lucas was teasing Noah. Noah was giggling. Then headlights, a truck coming, driver drunk, lost control. The sound of impact, the sound of breaking glass. Then silence. Noah's parents died instantly. Lucas died on the way to the hospital. His heart stopped before the ambulance arrived. Noah survived. Not a scratch on his body, but his soul died with his family. He didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't speak. Doctors called it severe psychological trauma, selective mutism. He could speak, but he wouldn't, or couldn't. The line between those two was blurred. Noah had no relatives. Parents were only children. Grandparents already passed. He was transferred to St. Grace Children's Hospital, where there was a long-term therapy program for children with psychological trauma. Emily Foster, a social worker, was assigned to care for Noah. She talked to him every day. She brought toys, picture books. She tried to make him laugh. Nothing worked. Psychologists tried many methods: art therapy, dog therapy, antidepressants. Nothing worked. Noah remained silent. He ate when told, slept when told. But he didn't live, just existed. Until one day, Emily brought him to the music therapy room. There was a piano there. Noah stopped. For the first time, his eyes showed something different. He walked to the piano, touched the white keys, pressed one note. The sound rang out. Noah pressed a few more notes. Emily stood still, afraid to breathe. That was Noah's first response in 2 years. From then on, every evening Noah came to the music therapy room. He sat at the piano, tried to play. No one taught him. He played by instinct, clumsy, wrong, but he kept trying. He was searching for something he had lost. Dr. David William Harper, 42 years old, director of pediatrics at St. Grace Hospital, one of America's leading pediatricians, published 30 scientific papers, teaches at medical school, invited to join the Department of Health Advisory Board. David dedicated his life to medicine, but behind that success was pain that never healed. 15 years ago, David was studying for his doctorate in London. He received a call from an old friend in Seattle. "David, there's a big fire in the Queen Anne apartment complex. Michael, he might be inside." David flew back to America immediately. He arrived at the scene. The building had burned down. The victim list wasn't complete. Some people still unidentified. Michael wasn't on the survivor list. David searched everywhere: hospitals, morgues, police stations, homeless shelters. No trace of Michael. He left his phone number everywhere, hired a private investigator, posted notices in newspapers. No news. 6 months passed. David had to return to London to complete his degree, but he continued searching from afar. 1 year, 2 years. Gradually, David accepted the truth. Michael was dead. That pain changed David. He worked nonstop, 16 hours a day, no days off, no vacations. He wanted to save other children because he couldn't save his brother. David became the best doctor, the strictest, also the loneliest. He didn't marry, no girlfriend. Old friends gradually lost touch, only work, every night. When back in his office, David opened a small wooden box on his desk. Inside was an old photo. 2 boys, David at 12 and Michael at 8, sitting by the piano in their old living room, both smiling brightly. Mom took that photo 1 month before she passed. David gently touched Michael's face in the photo. Little brother, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. Then he closed the box, continued working. He didn't know Michael was still alive. He didn't know Michael also kept an identical photo. He didn't know his brother was living right here in Seattle, just 5 kilometers from his office. Sometimes fate is cruel. It keeps 2 brothers close, but never lets them meet. That night, it rained heavily. Michael looked for shelter. He knew a back door at the hospital was usually unlocked. He'd snuck in there a few times before to escape the rain. He pushed the door, stepped inside. Rainwater dripped from his clothes onto the clean floor. He planned to find a quiet corner to sit, wait for the rain to stop. Then he heard it. Piano music. Lonely. From the 3rd floor. Michael stopped. He knew he shouldn't go there. But that sound, it pulled him. He walked up the stairs, moved quietly, followed the sound. The music therapy room. Door slightly open, yellow light spilling out. Michael looked in. A blonde boy sat at the grand piano. Next to him was a young woman. She was trying to encourage him. Try again. Noah, you can do it. The boy Noah pressed a few keys, trying to play a simple melody. But it was wrong. Michael watched those small fingers, stiff, emotionless, like a machine trying to copy music it didn't understand. He couldn't stand still anymore. He knocked softly on the door. The woman, startled, turned around. "Excuse me. Who are you?" she asked. Voice cautious. She looked Michael up and down. Messy hair, long beard, torn clothes, the smell of someone living on the streets. "I heard the piano," Michael said. "Can I help?" Help. Emily stood up, blocking between Michael and Noah. "What are you doing here?" "You're not allowed here. I know. I'm sorry. I heard him playing, and I thought I could help." "Who are you? Just someone who plays piano." Emily looked at Michael. She didn't know whether to trust him, but then she looked at Noah. The boy was looking at Michael. For the first time in many months, Noah was paying attention to a stranger. Emily hesitated. "Okay, but only 5 minutes." Michael nodded. He stepped in, sat down at the second piano. He looked at Noah. "What are you trying to play?" Noah didn't answer, just looked. "All right, I'll play. You listen." Michael placed his hands on the keys, tapped lightly 3 times, an old ritual. Then he played a familiar melody, simple. But the way Michael played, it was completely different. Each note carried emotion. Each phrase told a story. Noah stopped playing. He turned fully toward Michael, listened. Emily stood still, mouth open. Michael finished. He looked at Noah. "Music isn't about the keys. You know, it's about what you feel. What do you think of when you hear this melody?" Noah was silent, but his eyes lit up. "Try again. But this time, don't think about the keys. Think about a good memory, a moment you loved, Noah looked down at the keys. Then he played. Still clumsy, but different. Something softer. Michael smiled. Much better. He started playing with Noah, 2 pianos, same melody, but Michael filled in the gaps, made the music complete. Noah played, and for the first time in 2 years, the corner of his mouth lifted. A smile. Very faint. But Emily saw it. Her tears fell. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. 15. Emily didn't dare interrupt. This was the first time Noah had a positive response. Finally. Michael stood up. I have to go now. Noah looked at him. In the boy's eyes was something, a silent plea. If you want, I'll come back, Michael said. Okay. Noah nodded. Firmly. Michael turned to Emily. I don't mean any harm. I just want to help the boy. Emily nodded, unable to speak. Michael stepped out the door, disappeared into the darkness. Emily stood there for a moment. Then she ran after him. Wait, she called. Michael stopped. Who are you? Emily asked. Where did you learn piano? Why are you so good? Michael was silent for a moment. From a long time ago. From a very good teacher. Will you come back if the boy needs me? He needs you. Nothing else has worked. You did what we couldn't. Michael looked back at the therapy room. Noah was sitting at the piano, still watching him. I'll come back, Michael said. Then he left, down the stairs, out of the hospital, into the rainy night. Emily stood in the hallway, her heart pounding. She didn't know who that man was, but she knew one thing. Noah had smiled. For the first time in 2 years. The next night, Michael returned. He came at 11 when the security guard was on break. Emily had left the back door open for him. Noah was waiting in the therapy room. When he saw Michael, the boy sat up straight. His eyes brightened. Hello? Noah, Michael said. Ready to play? Noah nodded. They sat down at the 2 pianos. Michael didn't teach technique. He taught emotion. Every piece of music is a story, he said. Tell your story. They played a simple piece, then another, then something harder. Noah improved every day, from simple notes to complex melodies. Michael told Noah stories about great composers, about people who overcame difficulties through music. There was a boy named Ludwig, Michael told him. He went deaf, couldn't hear sounds, but he still composed music. He felt music through vibrations, through his heart. Noah listened, didn't speak, but paid attention. Emily watched everything from the corner of the room. She saw Noah changing. He started eating more, didn't need to be forced anymore. He slept better. No more screaming in his sleep. He even started interacting with nurses, nodding when greeted, shaking hands. These were small steps, but to Emily, they were miracles. One night, after Noah went to sleep, Emily sat down next to Michael. Who were you? She asked gently. Before you became like this. Michael looked down at his hands, calloused, dirty, old scars from the fire. I used to be someone else, he said. But the past doesn't matter. What matters is now. You play piano so well. You must have studied somewhere very special. Michael smiled sadly. Oh, you could say that. Emily didn't ask more. She understood. Everyone has their own secrets. Thank you, she said. To us for helping Noah. You've given him something we couldn't. Hope. Michael looked at her. Noah gave me that too. They were silent for a while. You need to be careful, Emily said. If the administration finds out, I know. I'll be careful. But secrets can't be kept forever. Dr. Richard Stone, deputy director of the hospital, was a rigid man. Followed rules absolutely, no exceptions. One night, walking past the third-floor hallway, Stone heard piano music. He stopped. That sound wasn't like normal therapy sessions. It was too professional, too beautiful. Stone approached the therapy room door, looked through the small window, inside. A homeless man was playing piano with Noah. Emily was also there. Stone frowned. He took out his phone, took a few photos. Then he walked away, silently, but in his mind, he was making plans. Michael and Emily knew nothing about this. They continued the nightly lessons. Noah continued to improve. One night, Noah played a complete piece without a single mistake. Michael clapped. Emily clapped. Noah turned to look at them. Then he clapped too, softly, shyly, but he smiled. Michael felt his chest warm. This was why he loved music. Not to perform. Not for fame, but to connect. To heal. For the first time in 15 years, Michael felt he had purpose. Like he wasn't just a homeless man getting by. He was Noah's teacher. He was Noah's friend. He was light in Noah's darkness, and Noah was his light too. But that light was about to be extinguished because Dr. Stone was waiting for the right moment to act. A week later, security guard Tom Bradley changed his patrol schedule. He was asked to check the third floor at 11:30 p.m. Tom didn't think much of it. He followed instructions. When he reached the third floor hallway, he heard piano music. Tom stopped. Someone was in the therapy room. He opened the door. Michael and Noah were playing a duet. Emily sat nearby, smiling. Tom was stunned. "Who are you?" he asked loudly. "What are you doing here?" Michael stood up quickly, raised his hands. "Sorry, I'm just teaching the boy piano." Teaching. "Who are you to be teaching?" Tom took out his walkie-talkie. Emily ran over. "Tom, wait, let me explain." Explain what? Tom looked at Emily. "Do you know who this person is?" "His name is Michael. He's helping Noah, helping Tom." Looked at Michael again. "You're not allowed here. This is a restricted area." "I know," Michael said. "I'm sorry, but the boy needs me." Tom looked at Noah. The boy was watching Michael with fearful eyes. Afraid Michael would be taken away? Tom hesitated. He was a good man. He had young children at home. He understood caring for kids, but rules were rules. "I'm sorry," Tom said, "but I have to report this." Emily grabbed Tom's hand. "Tom, please, Noah has improved so much thanks to Michael. He started eating, sleeping well, he even smiles. Nothing else has worked." Tom looked at her, then at Noah, then at Michael. "I don't have a choice," he said. "This is my job," Tom reported to his superiors. The next morning, Dr. Stone called a meeting. Emily, Tom, and Michael were asked to be present. Michael sat in Stone's office. He felt small, out of place. Stone sat behind the desk, eyes cold. "So we have a homeless man sneaking into the hospital every night," Stone said slowly, "making contact with a child patient, and nobody reported it." He looked at Emily and Tom. "Who is he?" Stone asked. "I'm Michael Harper," Michael answered. "Michael Harper. Do you have any identification?" Michael shook his head. "Medical degree?" "No." "Therapy? License?" "No." Stone leaned back in his chair. "So who are you, a vagrant claiming to be a piano teacher?" "I'm not claiming anything," Michael said. "I just want to help the boy." "Help?" Stone laughed dismissively. "Who do you think you are?" This hospital has world-class doctors, experts with decades of experience. We don't need a homeless man playing piano. Emily stood up. Dr. Stone. With all due respect, Noah has improved. He's eating better, sleeping better. He even smiles. We've tried every method for 2 years with no results. Michael did what we couldn't. Stone slammed his hand on the desk. Rules are rules. This person has no identification, no credentials, no clear background. He could be anyone, a criminal, dangerous. We cannot allow someone like this to have contact with children. But you don't understand. Emily started. No, Stone interrupted. You don't understand. If something happens to that child, who will be responsible, you, me? He turned to Michael. Listen, whoever you are, I don't care. You're not allowed here. If I catch you in this hospital again, I'll call the police. Understand? Michael nodded. Slowly? Understood. He stood up, turned to Emily. You tried your best. Thank you. Then he looked at Stone. That boy is special. You should spend time getting to know him, instead of just looking at regulations. Stone didn't respond. Michael walked out of the office. Tom followed. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I didn't want this to happen. You were just doing your job, Michael said. Nothing to apologize for. Michael left the hospital, walked into the early morning. The sky was beginning to lighten. But for Michael, everything was getting darker. On the 3rd floor, Noah sat in his room, looking out the window, waiting for Michael. But Michael didn't come. The first night, Noah sat in the therapy room from 11 until midnight, waiting. Michael didn't come. Emily sat beside him. Sweetheart, Uncle Michael can't come anymore, but you can still play piano. I'll play with you. Noah shook his head. He stood up, left. The second night, Noah didn't come to the therapy room. He lay in bed, faced the wall. Emily tried to coax him. Nothing worked. The third night, Noah started having nightmares again. He screamed in his sleep, wordless screams full of pain. Emily and nurses ran in, tried to wake him. Noah woke up, drenched in sweat, eyes empty. But he said nothing. Doctors were called. They examined Noah. The boy is regressing, a psychologist said. All progress from the past 2 weeks has vanished. Why, a nurse asked. Trauma resurfacing. When the boy connected with someone, then lost that person, it's like losing his parents again. Emily sat down, covered her face with her hands. This was her fault. She let Michael come. She let Noah bond with him. Then it was all taken away. Dr. David Harper was informed about Noah's condition. David came to the psychology department, read the report. This boy made significant progress. David said, then suddenly regressed completely. What happened? The psychologist shook his head. We're not sure, possibly a triggering event. David went to Noah's room. The boy lay in bed, staring at the wall. Hello, Noah, David said gently. I'm Dr. Harper. I heard you like playing piano. Would you like to play with me? Noah didn't respond. David sat down by the bed. I know you don't want to talk. That's okay. I'll talk. You just listen. David told Noah about music, about how he used to learn piano as a child, about how music can heal. Noah still didn't respond. After 20 minutes, David stood up. He sighed. Outside the room, Emily was waiting. Are you the one caring for the boy? David asked. Yes, doctor. What happened? The report says he improved greatly, then suddenly regressed. Emily hesitated. She knew she could get in trouble, but Noah was more important. There was a man, she began. He snuck into the hospital every night, taught Noah piano. Noah was very attached to him, then Dr. Stone banned him from coming. Noah lost the only person he connected with. David frowned. Who was this man? His name is Michael. He's homeless. But he plays piano very well. I've never heard anyone play like that. Michael? David repeated. That name sounded so familiar. How did he play? David asked, very beautifully, very emotional, like music flowing from his soul. And he had a habit. He'd tap the piano keys lightly 3 times before playing, like a ritual. David froze. Tapping keys 3 times. Michael, his brother, always did that. Since childhood? What else was special about him? David asked. Voice trembling, Emily thought. He had an old scar on his right hand. And he had a very unique way of playing. Very familiar. Like I'd heard it somewhere before. David couldn't breathe. Scar on the right hand. Michael burned his right hand at age 10 when trying to get a pot of boiling water off the stove. Tapping keys 3 times. Michael's habit. Playing beautifully, unforgettably. Could it be, do you know where he is? David asked. No, but I heard he usually plays piano at Pioneer Square, the park nearby. David nodded. Thank you. He turned to leave. Emily called after. Dr. Harper. You'll help Noah, won't you? David stopped, turned, I promise. Then he left. Quickly, in his mind. A crazy hope was blooming. Could Michael still be alive? Could his brother not have died in the fire? Could they have just lost each other? David had to find out the truth. Right now. Michael sat under the awning of a closed store. Light rain. Cold. He opened his old cloth bag. Inside was a photo. Corners bent, colors faded. 2 boys, David and Michael, by the piano. Michael gently touched David's face in the photo. Brother, he whispered, do you ever think of me? Do you know I'm still alive? He put the photo away. Stood up, he walked to Pioneer Square, his usual corner, opened the old keyboard, sat down, started playing. Not many people in the park at this hour. Rain, cold. But Michael played anyway. He played for himself, not for money. He played to forget, to remember, to feel alive. A sad piece, a melody of longing. A few people passed by, stopped, listened. An elderly woman approached. She placed $20 in the box in front of Michael. You play very well, she said. Michael looked up. Thank you. Where did you study a long time ago? From a very good teacher? The woman looked at Michael carefully. You look familiar. Have we met somewhere? Michael shook his head. I don't think so, the woman thought. Maybe I'm mistaken. But you remind me of an old student. He also played piano very beautifully, very emotionally. Are you a piano teacher? Used to be retired now. But I remember all my students, especially the 2 Harper boys, David and Michael, 2 wonderful brothers. Michael froze. You're Mrs. Peterson? The woman startled. Yes. How do you know? Michael stood up, hands trembling. You taught me piano 30 years ago. Mrs. Peterson looked at Michael more closely. Her face paled. Michael Harper. Yes. Oh my God. She hugged Michael. Everyone said you were dead. David searched for you everywhere, David. David searched for me. Of course, for years. But no one could find you. Even I thought you died in the fire. Michael sat down. Shocked. He searched for me, he repeated. I thought he'd abandoned me. Never David loves you so much. He was devastated thinking you were gone. Where is he now, David? He's a doctor. Director of Pediatrics at St. Grace Hospital. Michael froze. St. Grace. Where he'd just been banned, where David works. They'd been close to each other all this time. But didn't know. I have to go, Michael said suddenly. Wait, let me tell David. No. Michael shook his head hard. Please don't say anything. He can't see me like this. But please, I don't want him to see me as a failure. Mrs. Peterson looked at Michael sadly. You're not a failure. You're a hero. You saved a child and lost everything. But you're still alive. That's what matters most. Michael didn't respond. He packed up the keyboard, put it in his bag. Thank you for teaching me, he said. You were the best teacher I ever had. Michael. But he was already gone. Disappeared into the crowd. Mrs. Peterson stood there, holding her phone. Should she call David? But Michael said not to. She hesitated. Then she put her phone in her bag. Maybe the two brothers needed to find each other in their own way. At the same time, in the office at St. Grace, David sat working, but his mind wasn't focused. He opened the wooden box, took out the photo. David and Michael, by the piano. Little brother, David whispered. If you're still out there somewhere, give me a sign. He looked out the window. Seattle. Vast millions of people if Michael was still alive. How could he find him? But then he remembered Emily's words. He usually plays piano at Pioneer Square. David looked at his watch. 8 p.m. He stood up, got his coat. He had to go check. Right now. David drove to Pioneer Square. It was already dark. Light rain. He parked, walked into the park, looked around. Many homeless people, a few asking for money, one singing. But no one playing piano. David walked from one corner to another. Didn't see Michael. He asked a street vendor, Have you seen a man playing piano here? Michael, he already left, about an hour ago. When does he usually come? Evening, from 7 to 10. David thanked him. He returned to his car, sat in the car, thinking. If that really was Michael, he couldn't miss this chance. David decided he would come back every night until he met that person. The next night. David came to Pioneer Square at 7. He sat on a bench, far away, observing. 8 o'clock, 9, 10. No one. David went home, disappointed. The third night. He came back, this time at 6:30. He waited. 7, 7:30. Then he saw it. A man walking to the corner of the park, carrying a large bag. He opened the bag, took out a keyboard, set it on the ground, sat down. David couldn't see his face clearly from afar. The man placed his hands on the keys, tapped lightly 3 times. David's heart pounded. That was Michael's habit. The man started playing. A familiar melody, a piece David knew. It was Michael's favorite piece, the one his brother used to play as a child. David stood up, walked closer, closer, closer still. 10 meters, 5 meters. The streetlight shone on the man's face. David stopped. His heart stopped beating. It was Michael, older, thinner, long beard, a few strands of white in his hair. But it was his brother. David couldn't move. 15 years he thought Michael was dead. 15 years he lived in pain. And now Michael was here, sitting on the street, playing piano for passers-by. Tears streamed down David's face. He wanted to run forward, hug Michael, tell him everything would be okay. But his legs were frozen. Because what if it wasn't Michael? What if he was just dreaming? What if he approached, then realized he was wrong? He would shatter. David stood there, 10 meters from Michael, listening to his brother play and crying. David couldn't wait anymore. He stepped forward. Michael, stop playing. Head down. Silent. Michael. David called again, voice trembling. Michael slowly looked up. The street light shone on David's face. Two brothers looked at each other. 15 years without meeting. Michael stood up, slowly. David, you're still alive. David breathed out. You're still alive. Michael repeated. They stood still. Neither knew what to do. Too many years. Too much pain. Too many questions. David stepped forward, hugged Michael. Michael stiffened. Then his arms slowly lifted, hugged back. Two brothers embraced in the park. Passers-by looked at them, but no one understood. No one knew this was the moment two brothers had waited 15 years for. They held each other for a long time. Finally, they let go, sat down on a bench. David didn't know where to start. How have you lived these 15 years? He asked. Michael told him. About the fire. About saving the child. About losing everything. About his injured hand. About not being able to find David. David listened, tears flowing constantly. Little brother. I'm sorry, David said. I searched for you. But they said you were dead. I believed that. You're not at fault, Michael said. I also thought you'd abandoned me, but now I understand. We just lost each other. David took Michael's hand, calloused, cold, old scar on the thumb. Come home with me, David said. I'll take care of you. You don't have to live on the streets anymore. But Michael pulled his hand back. Brother, I can't. Why not? I'm not Michael Harper anymore. I'm just a homeless person. I'll embarrass you. Embarrassed, David looked at Michael. You're my brother. Nothing is more important. You have a career, reputation. If people know you have a homeless brother. I don't care, David said loudly. You're my family. Do you hear, family? But Michael stood up. You don't understand. I can't go back to normal life. I have no papers, no credentials, nothing. We'll handle that. Slowly, but first, you need a place to live. Food, clean clothes. Michael stepped into the darkness. Brother, I need time. I can't accept your help when I have nothing to give back. You don't need to give back anything, but I need to. Michael looked at David. I've lived 15 years by my own strength. If I accept your help now, I'll feel like a failure. David stood up, gripped Michael's shoulders. You're not a failure. You're a hero. You saved a child. You sacrifice everything for someone else. That's what I'm proudest of about you. Michael was silent. Give me time, he said. A few days, let me think. David didn't want to let go, but he knew Michael needed space. Okay. But promise you won't disappear. I promise. Where are you staying? How can I contact you? Michael gave David a phone number. This is Emily's number, a nurse at the hospital. She knows how to reach me. David nodded. Saved it. Where are you going now? I'll find a place to sleep. Stay with me. No. I need to be alone. Michael packed up the keyboard. Put it in his bag. Brother, he said, I'm glad to see you again. Really, me too. I love you too. Michael stepped into the darkness. David stayed, watching. This time, he knew Michael wasn't dead. This time, he had a phone number to contact him. But the pain remained, because his brother was still living on the streets, because Michael still felt unworthy. David gripped his phone tightly. He wouldn't let Michael disappear again. He would find a way, at any cost. The next morning, David couldn't sleep. He sat in his office, thinking. Michael was still alive, but his brother was living as a homeless man. Noah was regressing, because he'd lost Michael. Dr. Stone had banned Michael from the hospital. David had to do something. He picked up the phone, called his assistant, call an emergency meeting, all pediatric staff, 10 a.m., large conference room, everyone, including Dr. Stone. The assistant hesitated. Dr. Stone is deputy director. He doesn't usually attend department meetings, I know. But this time he must come. Tell him it's an urgent matter regarding hospital policy. Yes. Doctor. 10 a.m., large conference room, over 50 people gathered, doctors, nurses, social workers, therapists. Dr. Stone sat in the front row, looking annoyed. He didn't like being summoned like this. Emily and Tom were also present. They sat in the back row, worried. David entered, stood before everyone. Thank you all for coming. I know this is short notice, but I have something important to say. Everyone was silent. David took a deep breath. I want to tell you about someone we treated unfairly. Dr. Stone crossed his arms, frowned. David continued 15 years ago. There was a young man. He was a pianist, talented, bright future. He performed at Carnegie Hall at just 23. Everyone listened. One night, his apartment building caught fire. He heard a child crying for help. Without thinking, he ran into the flames. David paused, emotion rising. He saved the child, but he lost everything: papers, degrees, identity. He was injured in his right hand, couldn't play piano professionally anymore, and without papers. He couldn't get a job, couldn't rent an apartment, couldn't live normally. He slowly slipped down to the streets. Emily started crying. She knew who David was talking about. For 15 years, he lived on the streets, played piano to survive. People walked by, no one looked. No one cared. Then one night, he snuck into this hospital to escape the rain. He heard a boy playing piano. The boy was struggling, alone, traumatized. He couldn't walk away. He sat down, played with the boy, taught him, gave him hope. David looked around the room. Do you know who that boy was? Noah Bennett? The boy we tried to treat for 2 years with no results. People whispered that man did what all of us couldn't. He reached Noah's heart. He gave Noah a reason to live. Dr. Stone stood up. Dr. Harper, with all due respect, this doesn't change the rules. That person has no credentials, no license. He's not allowed. He's my brother, David said loudly. The entire room went silent. Dr. Stone froze. David repeated it, slowly. That man is Michael Harper, my brother. The one I thought died 15 years ago. Everyone was shocked. David turned to Stone. You judged Michael by his appearance, by his circumstances. You didn't see who he really was. You didn't care that he'd saved a child. You didn't care that he was helping Noah. All you cared about were regulations. Stone tried to respond. Regulations exist for a reason, to protect patients. Protect who? David interrupted. Noah is worse than ever because you banned Michael. Psychologists say he's completely regressing. David stepped toward Stone. You know why? Because Noah had a connection with someone, and you took that person away. Stone's face reddened. I was protecting the hospital. You were protecting your ego, David said forcefully. You couldn't accept that a homeless man could do what experts couldn't. Emily stood up. Dr. Harper is right. Noah smiled. For the first time in 2 years. Thanks to Michael. Tom stood up too. I saw them play together. It was beautiful, real, gradually. More staff stood up, a nurse said. I've cared for Noah from the beginning. He was never better than when Michael was here. A doctor said we should reconsider our policies. Sometimes regulations prevent real care. Stone looked around. He was isolated. David turned back to everyone. From today, I will sponsor Michael Harper to get his music therapy degree, get his license. And when he qualifies, he will be the official music therapist of pediatrics. Everyone applauded. Furthermore, David continued, I will establish a fund, Hope Through Music Foundation, to provide free music therapy to children from difficult circumstances. Louder applause. David looked at Stone. And if anyone disagrees with this decision, they can apply for a transfer to another department or hospital. Stone stood still, face burning. But he couldn't say anything. He had lost. David ended the meeting. Thank you all. Continue your good work. And remember, sometimes heroes don't wear white coats. Sometimes they just need a second chance. Everyone applauded warmly. Stone left the room without a word. Emily ran to David. Dr. Harper. Thank you, David smiled. Now I need to find my brother and bring him home. David went straight to Pioneer Square. This time he didn't wait. He searched for Michael and found him at the usual corner. Michael was sitting, not playing, just sitting there, watching people pass by. Michael. David called. Michael looked up. Brother. David sat down beside him. I need you to come to the hospital with me. Noah is waiting for you. Michael shook his head. Brother. You know I can't. Doctor. Stone banned. Stone doesn't have power anymore. Michael looked at David. What do you mean? David told Michael about the meeting, about how he publicly defended Michael before all staff. Michael listened, shocked. You did that? For me? For you? For Noah? For what's right? Michael shook his head. I can't. I'm not worthy. David knelt down before Michael. Right in the middle of the park. In front of everyone, Little brother, David said. Tears streaming. You sacrificed everything to save a child. You taught Noah how to live again. You're a hero, not a failure. Come home with me. Come back to Noah. Michael looked at David, at the tears on his brother's face. I'm scared, Michael whispered. I'm scared I'll let everyone down. You will never let me down, David said. You're my pride. Always. Michael cried. For the first time in 15 years, he let his tears fall. Okay, I'll come home. David hugged Michael in the middle of the park, not caring who watched. They went to the hospital together. Emily had prepared. She led them to Noah's room. The boy lay in bed, facing the wall. Noah, Emily said gently. Someone wants to see you. Noah didn't respond. Michael entered. Slowly. He sat down by the bed. Noah, I'm sorry I left you. Noah still didn't move. Michael looked at the piano in the corner of the room, then back at Noah. Without a piano, Michael started singing. Soft voice, trembling. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. That was the first song they played together. How I wonder what you are. Noah froze. Up above the world so high. Slowly, Noah turned his head, like a diamond in the sky. Noah looked at Michael, eyes wide. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Noah opened his mouth. How I wonder. And for the first time in 2 years, Noah spoke. What you are. Voice small as a whisper, hoarse, as if unused to speaking. But it was speech. Everyone in the room was stunned. Emily covered her face, crying. David stood still, couldn't believe his ears. Michael cried too. Noah, he whispered, you spoke. Noah sat up, looked at Michael. Uncle? Michael, yes. It's me. I'm here. Noah climbed out of bed, ran to hug Michael. Don't go, Noah said, voice trembling. Promise, don't leave me like my parents. Michael held Noah tight. I promise. I will never leave you again. I'll be here. Forever, Noah cried, for the first time in 2 years. He cried, tears held back too long, pain buried too deep. He cried for his parents, for his brother Lucas, for everything he'd lost. But he also cried for happiness, because Michael had returned. Michael held Noah, let him cry, didn't try to stop it, sometimes. Tears are the best healing. David stood beside them, watching his brother hold Noah. He thought about the past 15 years, about everything they'd lost. But now, they'd found each other, and they'd saved a child. That was what mattered most. Emily wiped her tears. She called the doctors. They came, examined Noah. This is a breakthrough, a psychologist said. The boy has broken through the barrier. This is a turning point in treatment. They observed Noah. He was talking with Michael. Quiet voice, halting. But he was talking. Will you teach me piano? Of course. I'll teach you everything I know. I want to play well, like you. Michael smiled. You'll play better than me, I promise. Noah smiled. For the first time, a real smile. David watched the scene, his heart warm. He knew they would be okay. All three of them. A new family, made from broken pieces. 1 year later, Benaroya Concert Hall, Seattle. The auditorium packed. Over 2,000 people on stage. A large banner, Hope Through Music St. Grace music therapy program. Annual concert, 20 children sat on stage, each with an instrument, violin, flute, cello, trumpet, piano. In the center, 2 grand pianos. Michael Harper stood on the stage. He was no longer homeless. He wore an elegant black suit, hair cut short, beard shaved clean. He looked like a professional, because he was a professional. Over the past year, Michael completed the music therapy program, got his degree, got his license. He became the official music therapist at St. Grace. His program had helped over 50 children, children with autism, children with psychological trauma, children with disabilities. They found their voice through music. Today was the first concert in the front row. David sat next to Emily and Tom, all three dressed formally, faces proud. Mrs. Peterson, the old piano teacher, was also present. She smiled, wiping tears. Dr. Stone wasn't there. He'd transferred to another hospital. No one was surprised. Michael stepped to center stage. Stage lights on him. The auditorium silent. Michael opened his mouth. His voice rang out clearly. Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Harper. 1 year ago, I was a man who had lost everything. I lived on the streets. I thought music had died in me. But a boy taught me something. He taught me that music never dies. It just waits to be awakened. Michael looked toward Noah. The 8-year-old boy sat by the main grand piano, wearing a small suit, blonde hair neatly combed, blue eyes shining bright. Today, we want to play a special piece. I wrote it for all those who lost their voice, but found it through music. Michael looked at the audience. This piece is called The Things We Cannot Say, but we can play them. Michael and Noah walked to the 2 pianos. The other children prepared their instruments. Michael tapped the piano keys lightly 3 times, the old ritual. Noah also tapped 3 times, mimicking Michael. They looked at each other, smiled. Then they played. The music started softly. 2 pianos, interweaving, then violin joined, flute, cello. The melody gradually building. It told a story about loss, about loneliness, about pain, but also about hope, about connection, about love. The audience listened. Absolute silence. Many people cried. David sat in the front row, watching his brother. Michael played with his whole soul, each note an emotion, each phrase a memory. David thought about the past 15 years, about the days he thought Michael was dead, about the nights he cried alone, about the moment they met again in the park. And now, Michael was here, on stage, before thousands. Not as a homeless man, but as an artist, as a teacher, as a hero. David's tears fell here, but they were tears of happiness. The music reached its midpoint. The tempo increased. Noah played a solo, a short passage, but beautiful. The other children clapped along. The audience also clapped. Michael looked at Noah, proud. The boy had come so far, from a child who didn't speak, didn't smile, didn't live, to a young artist, confident, full of life. The music reached its climax, all instruments playing together, harmonizing, powerful, then gradually, softly returning. The final note, 2 pianos, together, then silence. The auditorium erupted, standing ovation. Everyone stood up, clapping, cheering. Children on stage stood, bowed. Michael and Noah held hands, bowed together, lights shining on them. It was the perfect moment. The moment Michael had lost 15 years to find. Not Carnegie Hall's spotlight, but the light of family, of love, of hope. David stood up, clapped until his hands hurt. Emily and Tom, too. Mrs. Peterson wiped tears. "You did it," she whispered. "You really did it." On stage, Noah hugged Michael. "We did it. Uncle Michael?" Michael hugged Noah back. "No. You did it? I just helped you find your voice. But without you, I would never have found it." Michael smiled, looked out at the audience, at David. 2 brothers looked at each other, through thousands of people, and they understood. They had survived the darkness and found each other on the other side. After the concert, the crowd slowly left, but Michael and David remained on stage. Noah was playing with friends outside, Emily watching over them. 2 brothers stood center stage, looking out at the empty seats. "Do you think Mom and Dad would be proud?" Michael asked. David turned, smiled. "They would be very proud. Of both of us." Michael nodded. "I'm sorry for making you wait 15 years. David shook his head. "No, you're not at fault. We took different paths. But in the end, we still found each other. And now we have Noah. Noah ran onto the stage. Uncle Michael, Uncle David. Come take pictures with us." David laughed. "All right." They went outside, took photos with the children, with families, with friends. Mrs. Peterson hugged Michael. You did so well. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for not giving up on us. I never give up on my students. Emily approached. Michael, a reporter wants to interview you about the program. Can he wait? I want to spend time with family first. Emily smiled. Sure, I'll tell him. Michael looked around. All these people, here because they believed in him a year ago. He was just a homeless man. No one looked. No one cared. Now, he had family, a job, purpose. He had David. He had Noah. He had life. Finally, everyone left. Michael. David and Noah walked outside. Seattle night, cold, but beautiful. Let's get dinner, David said. To celebrate. I want pizza, Noah said. Michael laughed. Pizza. All right then. They went to a nearby pizza restaurant. Sat down, ordered. Noah talked nonstop. About the concert, about his friends, about the next piece they'd play. Michael and David sat listening, smiling. This was an ordinary moment. Simple. But to Michael, this was everything. Because for 15 years, he didn't have moments like this. No family, no warm meal, no laughter. Now he had it all. After dinner, they went home. David and Michael lived together in an apartment. Noah also lived with them. Emily was processing adoption papers for David. In a few months, Noah would officially be David's son, and Michael would be uncle, an imperfect family. But theirs. Noah went to bed early, tired from the concert. Michael and David sat on the balcony, looking at the city. You know, Michael said, I used to think I'd lost everything, reputation, talent, family. David listened. But I was wrong. I didn't lose them. I just needed to find them again. Michael looked at David. Sometimes we have to go through darkness to see light. Sometimes we have to lose our voice to learn to listen. And sometimes we have to lose everything to realize what truly matters. David nodded. You're right. They were silent for a while. You know, David said, I also thought I'd lost everything when you disappeared. I worked nonstop. Tried to fill the void, but nothing could fill it. Until I found you. Michael held David's hand. We found each other. And we'll never lose each other again. Never. They sat there. Two brothers. Looking at the city at night. And for the first time in 15 years, both felt complete. This story is inspired by the thousands of homeless individuals in America, people with talent, with stories, but forgotten by society. According to HUD Department of Housing and Urban Development statistics, over 580,000 people are homeless in America every night. Many of them are veterans, artists, teachers, doctors, people who once contributed to the community. They are not numbers. They are human beings with stories, with dreams, with talent. Don't judge a person by their appearance. Don't evaluate a person by their circumstances. Everyone deserves a second chance. Music therapy is a recognized treatment method. It has helped thousands of children with psychological trauma, PTSD, autism, communication difficulties, anxiety and depression, developmental disabilities. Music is not just entertainment. It is a way to heal. If you believe in the power of love, music, and redemption, if you believe that everyone deserves to be seen, heard, and loved, like this video to spread the message. Comment your story or someone you know about resilience and hope. Share this video with those who need to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more stories about hope when everything seems hopeless, human resilience in the face of adversity, miracles that happen when we don't give up on each other, social justice and equality, ordinary heroes doing extraordinary things. Thank you for listening to Michael, David, and Noah's story. Thank you for believing in the power of human kindness. Remember, sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they just need a second chance. See you in the next video.